Super Nintendo is arguably one of the greatest consoles to ever exist, and its influence will never be forgotten within the 90s, especially for gamers like me, with it being my favourite console of all time. I'm constantly getting messages and emails asking which Super Nintendo game should I pick first. Well, I've pulled out 10 games you literally have to own. If you only own these 10 games, then you've got a fantastic Super Nintendo library. Don't go anywhere, watch this entire video through, get yourselves a nice chocolate bar, a biscuit and a cup of tea, and let's kick it off. Okay, I'm going to start with this bad boy, Contra 3, or as it was known here, Super Probotector. Wow! I remember playing this first with my friend Matt, and I was absolutely mesmerised with the pacing of this game, especially if you play it on a difficulty higher than easy, because there's way more enemies to deal with, there's loads more sprites on screen, and it's just absolutely frantic in terms of its pace, and I really found that immersive. Kicking it off, I just loved that first level. It's dead easy, it's a nice little side scroller. You've got a mini boss, and then you've got this really huge kind of, I don't know if it's some kind of tortoise, some kind of weird turtle in all its deformities, to kick ass right on the very end of the level. But before then, there's so many cool different things, and Mode 7 plays a huge part, even in this first level when the plane comes in, you know, just before the fire pit starts. Like, it's absolutely infectious, and I could not put it down. I could not put Super Probotector down when I was a little girl, and it was in a second-hand shop as way back when, and it was for sale for £10, and I had £9.50 in change, and I knew it was only £9.50, and I went in and the guy was counting it, and I've got this little game here, and he's like, I'll let you have it for £9.50. And I was like, ah! So good memories even buying it, let alone playing it. So please go and grab yourselves a nice copy of Contra 3 if you're in North America, but Super Probotector if you're here in PAL regions. Even the kind of second level, let's just, you know, the top down, you know, levels, again, Mode 7 with the bosses spinning. Whew, a solid game, and here is a little fact, I've never completed it because it's that difficult, but I like the challenge. I'm 36 and I've still got to complete Contra 3, but I'll always pick it up and play it. It never gets old. Next up then is another game that really pushed the 16-bit Super Nintendo to its maximum, especially with the Super FX chip. That game is Starwing, or Star Fox if you're in North America. Remember when the ships came down the tunnel? Me, and you're looking at that as a little kid thinking, whoa, the graphics, and the music kicks in, and there's like your teammates' ships flying everywhere, and there's like laser beams being, you know, flung towards your ship. Doing a barrel roll for the first time, Starwing, mate, wow, what a title. And it's great because it's quite cheap to obtain as well, whether it's a box copy you can get for about a tenner, or an unboxed copy between £5 and £8. So it's great visually. It's just the characters, you've got like 4 characters, and there's this like dialogue as you're going through the levels, and you know, kind of coming through on the radio, like Peppy maybe radioing you saying, watch your tail, Fox. The bosses are great, you kind of fly in through space, you know, it just has everything for me, and that then kind of like the first time, I'll never forget, I remember my first barrel roll. Do you remember your first barrel roll? I mean, geez Louise, I was in my friend's living room, in Matt's living room, because he kind of got all the games first, you see, so he's kind of like got this Super Nintendo Starwing kit for Christmas. I think I've got it, yeah, I've got it up there now, and he's kind of playing away, and we just tap in the L and R buttons and the barrel rolls there. I mean, it makes me smile now. And again, it's one of those games that even when I pick up, it doesn't feel like I've played it before, because, you know, you can take different paths. There's this, like, you know, there's different ways you can go on the map to get to the end boss. So lots of replay value, really gnarly game. I hope I've sold you on Starwing. Next up then, we have a very rare Donkey Kong Country crate right here. So yeah, the next game is Donkey Kong Country. In my opinion, this is the best in the trilogy. bit of kind of in-game co-op with Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong as well, so very different abilities. Obviously Diddy a bit lighter, being able to jump that little bit higher, Donkey Kong a little bit slower, maybe has a bit more power, but a great game in terms of its visuals, NPCs, different things you need to do in a level, you know, like collecting the word Kong, for example. So, you know, getting as many points as you need to kind of obtain. We place a lot of emphasis as kids in how many points can you get. And there was the Blockbuster video game challenge, which was the first level, get as many points as you can. So that's always stuck with me. And even in my mind now, I play it and I kind of go through that Blockbuster video motion of kind of get as many points as you can, you know, killing things, collecting bananas, finding secret passages. Again, loads of really cool like ways to go, different enemies. It's just awesome. And then obviously you kind of like get to those levels where it's just the barrels, and you know, you jump in a barrel, you've got to press the button to fire you out to the next barrel without getting killed. So timing is of the essence. Donkey Kong Country, absolutely wicked. What would the Super Nintendo have been without these games? I have no idea. Speaking of classics, let's just take a moment to discuss the importance of Super Mario World. I think I put a blog out a few years back about the importance of Super Mario World in whatever year it was, and I could probably just rewrite that whole blog. For 2020, it's just constantly getting good press. It looks phenomenal. It was well, it was not the first game, but it kind of adopted that kind of Super Mario Bros. 3, the kind of top-down, moving into different worlds, you know, with different environments. You know, you're in a cave, you're outside, you're crossing a bridge. There's the yellow switches to kind of get, there's the green, there's the red, different ways to go. Absolutely, like, jaw-dropping. And Super Mario World, there was a red release and a yellow release. I think the red release was the kind of platinum version. Luckily I own two. There was, I think there was a Super Nintendo release with Super Mario World in the base kit. It's an absolute must. It really is an absolute must. And I think it's a testament that so many modders have modded Super Mario World. So, you know, I've seen there's so many out there. If you just kind of Google Super Mario World mods, I mean, its influence is endless. It's fun. It's definitely very challenging. And I would be keen to know, actually, I would be keen to know who's never played it. I will not judge you. I would be keen to know if anybody in this video or anybody that you're watching it with hasn't played it. Let me know in the comment section below. And if, you know, then go and buy a copy of Super Mario World. Continuing then, let's talk about FZero, another beautiful racing game that made great use of Mode 7 with the kind of far kind of backgrounds of buildings and, you know, the twisting of the polygons and the fast-paced soundtrack. I mean, it was wicked, and I love the fact that when you kind of get to you cross a line, you go into the next lap, you can charge up your ship again. There was 4 to choose from in the beginning as my camera battery cut out. Again, so a little bit of variation. Every different ship has different like acceleration speed, different handling, so you've really got to kind of choose carefully. But the soundtrack for me was one of the main things that I fell in love with about FZero. It was fast-paced, it was catchy, it was edgy, and it just took no prisoners, so it's essential. It is an essential game, and if you buy a box copy, you kind of look on the back, it might be the manual or the back of the case. It's like a little comic book, so you know, there's like little quirky things about FZero that you don't necessarily need to be kind of playing it to enjoy it. You can just appreciate it, and I love that. I think it's so freaking clever, and it's probably one of the only franchises now that we're actually waiting for a remaster or maybe a brand new game on a Switch. Nintendo, we're probably not going to get it, but hey, a girl can dream. But in the meantime, you guys can enjoy some beautiful 16-bit Mode 7 crispness with FZero on the Super Nintendo. Next up then is one of the classic fighters of the 16-bit generation, Street Fighter II Turbo, with the introduction of brand new characters with brand new moves to master, with some really just familiar faces like Chun-Li, Ryu, Ken, amidst the classic Street Fighter II backdrops, the arenas, the levels, whatever you want to call them, locations. And here's a question, let's just kind of chuck that out there. What's your favourite arena level? Let me know. I have a soft spot for Blancas, so Brazil, and E-Hondas in Japan. So they were kind of my, when you know, this level pops up when the plane flies after you defeat an opponent, comes back to the character screen, the plane goes, you think, yes, I'm going to Japan. You know, kind of back then, I never went on holiday, so you could kind of almost travel around the world with Street Fighter 2, and Turbo just added that extra element of coolness. You know, when the menu pops up, you can pick which Turbo you kind of want. You know, so you can kind of pick it. It's great because I always kind of had a low Turbo because I was just never very good at it. And I'm still not, I still can't master the moves, but I do have a lot of fun on it. And I think a lot of us can relate to the characters that we've all grown up with. Ryu, we've all grown up with Chun-Li and Blanca and Sagat. It's a beautiful franchise, and I think for me, I do prefer it that little bit more over like Mortal Kombat 2. I just think it had that little bit more to it, like more characters that I kind of associated with. So Street Fighter 2 Turbo, what are you waiting for? Next up then is a beautiful Zelda game, A Link to the Past. Again, a game I've completed on stream, a game that I really enjoyed the challenge of, you know, transitioning between the light world and the dark world and going to all of the different themed dungeons, sometimes getting so stuck that you'd have to kind of like dive into your guide. In fact, I have an unofficial Legend of Zelda Link to the Past guide right here. I have the official guide as well, but my friend had the guide as a kid, and we'd kind of like sit there like, oh, how do you get the mirror, you know? And it's amazing actually how much of it I forgot, because when I streamed it, although I've completed it like maybe 2-3 times before, you forget so much stuff. And like, you know, does this bomb break this wall down? Yes, it does. There's a fairy fountain, but you know, it's a really great game, and I think it's one of those games that you can relax to, but you also need to put a little bit of thinking to at the same time. All of the areas on the map are incredibly charming. We've got Kakariko Village, you know, we've got Zora's Fountain, Death Mountain, the desert. All the different enemies are themed. It's charming. It's essential, and I don't think the SNES would have been anything as near as what it was without A Link to the Past. Next up then, if ever there was an amazing two-player game, this is it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. Whew, that was a mouthful. Completed it. You can again, a game I've completed on stream. Best played in two-player mode without a shadow of a doubt, but still fun to play one-player mode. Again, you get to pick between different turtles. We all know the different turtles have different weapons, different abilities, and that such like. But it's fun to play through and just kind of go through. You start off in New York, and you kind of travel back in time throughout the game, and being able to throw enemies at the screen and see those sprites coming towards you. And actually, that's how you defeat Shredder, lobbing the foot soldiers at the screen like this. So it's like wicked in terms of all the different moves you can do. Really enjoyed seeing all the different bosses. You know, at the time I was still watching the cartoon in the 90s, and then being able to play a game like that and have full control over the turtles was just, it just like blew my mind, absolutely blew my mind. It's a really fun game now. I think the only downside to it is you can complete it in about 30 minutes flat. So, but you can kind of go back through it as well and play it with different turtles and, you know, beat your high score. It's a really nice little game, I think, to sit back on your couch and play it on a Sunday. And again, it's a must. It's very expensive if you get it boxed. I don't actually have a boxed copy. I have it. Do I have a boxed copy? I don't think I do. I have unboxed NTSC. I think I have an unboxed PAL. I'll have to double check it, but I definitely do own a copy. But Turtles in Time, do it. Let's go. Finally then, I'm gonna go with Yoshi's Island. This was dubbed as Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. And what captivates me, even by today's standards, is just how beautiful it looks. It's kind of like a cel-shaded game with a fore, mid and background, so it's almost like that 2.5D. Came very late on in the Super Nintendo's life cycle, so I think the technology and people's, the developers were way more advanced compared to, say, like when Super Mario World came out. And you play the role of the different Yoshis, and you have to protect Baby Mario. From time to, if Yoshi gets hit, Baby Mario can kind of like floats off and cries. You've got to hit him to get him back on your back. I love that you can kind of just swallow enemies, almost shit out Yoshi eggs and then fire them. So you've got a little bit of ammunition in this game. And then there's like little power-ups you can get. You can turn Yoshi into a helicopter, and that becomes part of one of the levels. So there's lots of different variation. It looks absolutely stunning. And at each of the end of the levels, you kind of like high-five the next colour Yoshi. Baby Mario transfers, and then that colour Yoshi just kind of skittles through the level. So it's cute, it's quirky, it looks good. Nice little mechanics, like I said, Yoshi turning into a helicopter amongst other things. Yoshi's Island, have you played it? Let me know in the comment section below. So there we go, 10 Super Nintendo games that are essential to your collection. Let me know what you've thought of this video. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Got a charity shop retro game hunt, lots of different locations coming up for your faces on Friday. There's so much here, so much here. Make sure you subscribe, and if you're kind enough, hit that join button or the first link in the description to become a paid sponsor of the channel for $1.99 a month. Have a great day, guys. I'm going to leave it there. My name is Gemma. Take care. See you soon.